Hey, thank you all for being here. Dean Andrews, one of our honorees, said the weather couldn't be better today. And I came up with the clever comment that when you have the National Weather Center, you can do those things. And he looked at me and said, "You've got to do better than that at this event." I could see it in his eyes. Hey, thank you all for being here. This is, in a lot of ways, the university's family room. So I love that the event takes place here. And we have 9 of our 10 honorees are here. One could not make it, I believe. He's come down with a cold and thought it'd be best not to infect all of us, once again showing incredible leadership by not doing that. But before we get started with some introductions, I would like all of us to give sort of a preemptive round of applause to all of our honorees that are here with us today. The ceremony isn't quite that quick. We'll actually go through each one of them in some detail and talk about them. I want to introduce a number of people. Obviously, everyone deserves the introduction, but there are 3 here who are 3 of my 7 bosses, so I'm going to immediately suck up to them. They truly, all kidding aside, perform a remarkable service for this institution. I was yesterday at an event, and someone, Johnny Jones, was here. They gave $15 million, and we had the event yesterday to thank them for that. Should anybody care to do the same thing, we can do lunch here afterwards. And he was asking about the governance of the institution, and he commented that it was a really big job for just 7 people. And it is, and they carry it extraordinarily well. Representing the board here today are 3 of them. I'd ask they each stand, and we'll applause for them as a group because that is how they function. Regent Anita Holloway. Couldn't help it. Regent Rick Nagel. And Regent Bob Ross. Yeah, incredibly grateful to them. I do have to make this comment, though. So, as you know, fundraising is so important, and oftentimes board members sometimes don't practice what they preach, not our board, but others. One of my favorites is as part of all these discussions, and it just makes me happy every time, there's a lot of discussion about addressing deferred maintenance. And a leadership gift was given recently, and it was absolutely the best because the leadership gift was given from one of our regents, Regent Anita Holloway, who always talks about deferred maintenance, and she gave her leadership gift only for deferred maintenance. Right? And she says it's open for additional contributions, but right. All right. So this event to me is one of my favorites, and it's because it occurs during homecoming. And it's a recognition of what the University of Oklahoma is, right? I mean, it is a place of such opportunity for our students. And as you look at them, as they gather, each time that you do that, you look at them and you just wonder if they can realize the full potential of what they have and what they can realize from the University of Oklahoma. And the stories are simply stunning. One of the honorees was talking about 3 or 4 ways that we were similar. And one of the things that all of us here hold in common is that our lives have been changed and impacted by OU. And as we go through it, that's the thing that we realize right now, is especially during homecomings. During homecoming weekend is a time for us to reflect and think about our individual stories and the impact that OU has had in our life, and that the impact it has to have for generations to come. At the end of the primary song that you'll hear at the end here as we conclude all events, it ends with this idea of live on, university, live on. And to me, one of the great questions is, what does that mean? I was asked that about, probably 10 years. I've been here forever. About 10 years ago, somebody asked the question, what does that mean to you? And to me, it's instinct with this obligation, this idea that this institution has guardians, and there's a time when you're the guardians of that. You're the ones that move it forward. And to me, that comes the real obligation for all of us, for the board members, for me, for each of us. I see Coach Cole here. She certainly does her part. And what is that? How do we answer that call, and how do we address it? And how do we address it in a time when there's so much change in every industry, including higher education? Is it a given? Is it a certainty that it lives on? And the answer is it's not. There are lots of institutions right now across higher education that are withering out of the pandemic and actually had issues before it, down 20, 30%, all the way across. If you look at it just in Oklahoma, which is typical of the rest of the country right now, if you look at how many students are in higher education in Oklahoma compared to 10 years ago, there are 65,000 fewer. Right? It's a stunning statistic. And when we think about the role that institutions of higher education play in the life of the individual and in the life of a state and in the life of a country, this country, our democracy, it's something we can't let continue to happen. Now, we're among the fortunate few. Because of the work that's been done, we sat back and looked at this a few years ago and put in place a very clear strategic plan. We restructured the finances. We looked at crazy things like deferred maintenance and have done this work, and we're making really good progress. You know, we're sitting here today with most institutions contracting. We've actually had back-to-back record classes come in as freshmen to the University of Oklahoma, both in terms of the greatest number of students, but also in really critical other ways. And I'll save the last statistic to me, which is the most important. I'll put that at the end. If you look at it, 2 largest classes, entering classes in the history of OU, highest average GPAs. We don't do test score numbers because there's some test optional things that skew that number. 39% of our students identify as minority. And importantly, unlike most institutions today, a record 25.4%, we've been tracking this for the last 10 or 15 years, so during that time frame, 25.4% of our students are the first in the history of their family to attend a college or university. Right? So we stand here today at a time of great change, but at a moment where we have a very clear vision of where we're going, a very clear understanding of the obligations that we have as an institution. And this idea of how do we live on is truly embodied by those of you in this room and by our alums and the commitment that we all have to this institution. So as we are here at our homecoming, right, on this gorgeous homecoming weekend where we will win tomorrow, this ceremony is remarkably important. Right? It is our honor to honor you. Because when we think about what we want for our students, what we want from this university, right, it is symbolized by these recipients today of this Regents Alumni Award. You are a symbol of the power of it, of the promise of it, and the absolute need for this to live on. So we're grateful that you're here. Now, the difficult part is going through each one of the individuals and walking through their incredible accomplishments. I'm not doing that, right? I did last year, and I was like, wait a second, I'm the president. I can delegate that out. So David Hale, who I'll introduce right now, is the head of the Alumni Association, does a remarkable job, and I'll turn the program over to him right now. Thank you all for being here. Be careful of that stuff.
Thank you. I've asked repeatedly not to have to follow President Harris at the podium, and yet here we are. Thank you all for being here today. On behalf of the University of Oklahoma, the OU Alumni Association, the OU Board of Regents, and the entire community, welcome to the 2022 Regents Alumni Awards ceremony. As Executive Director of the OU Alumni Association, it's my privilege to serve as your MC for today's event. The OU alumni family is more than 265,000 strong and is represented in every corner of the globe and in every field and facet of life imaginable. Regents Alumni Award winners represent the best of all of us in their shared dedication to our alma mater. Instituted in 1987, the Regents Alumni Award, presented by the Board of Regents and the Alumni Association, recognizes and honors some of the university's most outstanding alumni and friends. Recipients are selected on the basis of their service to the university and support of OU's visions and goals. The name of each recipient is engraved on a plaque here in the Oklahoma Memorial Union as a permanent testament to the important role these OU alumni and friends play in the life of our university. Today's honorees all serve as exceptional representatives of the university, and we're pleased to be able to present each of them with the Regents Alumni Award. The service and contributions of today's honorees are detailed in your programs and on the Regents Alumni Award website. Our first recipient retired from the University of Oklahoma in February of 2017 after providing 40 years of service and leadership to the OU Health Sciences Center, where he served as the Vice President for Health Affairs and Executive Dean of the OU College of Medicine. Under Dr. Andrews' leadership, OU HSC expanded research space, promoted a focus on interprofessional education, and enlarged the impact of OU Medicine and the Health Sciences Center in the rapidly changing healthcare industry. During his tenure at OU, Dr. Andrews received numerous teaching, leadership, and medical awards, including an honorary degree from OU. Dr. Andrews also represented OU while serving as a national committee member to the American College of Physicians, American Medical Association, the Association of American Medical Colleges, the Liaison Committee on Medical Education, and the National Commission on Certification of Physician Assistants. In 2013, Dr. Andrews was inducted into the Oklahoma Higher Education Hall of Fame. In 2016, a new 9-story academic tower and its courtyard for the OU College of Medicine were named in his honor. Please join me in recognizing Dr. Dwayne Andrews. Our next honoree is one of the most decorated basketball players in both OU and Big 12 conference history. She led the Sooners to 3 conference titles and our first NCAA Women's Final Four appearance in 2002. She was also OU women's basketball's first 2-time All-American and 2-time Big 12 Player of the Year. Stacy made her mark in the record books as she holds the OU career record for assists and ranks 3rd in school history in double-figure scoring games, 4th in games played, 5th in steals, and 7th in points scored. She also set the school single-season assists record with 248 in the 2000-2001 season. In addition to playing for the Sooners, she was Coach Sherry Cole's first Olympian as a member of the Canadian Olympic team at the 2000 Sydney Games. In addition to her achievements on the basketball court, Stacy earned Academic All-America honors in 2001 and 2002, and was the Academic All-American Women's Basketball Team member in the year 2002. Outside of school, Stacy participated in the Sooner Big Sis program, which enables players to volunteer their time as mentors and teachers' aides to elementary schools in the Norman community. Accepting on Stacy Dale's behalf is legendary OU coach and best-selling author, Coach Sherry Cole. Please join me in welcoming Coach Cole and recognizing Stacy Dales. Although our next recipient was born and raised in Houston, Texas, he always wanted to be a Sooner and graduated in 1984 from the University of Oklahoma with a Bachelor's of Science in Geology and was also a part of the 1981 football team. Since graduating from OU, he's worked in the oil and gas industry in Houston. In 1992, he started his own company, Linder Dowdy Energy, and focused on the Texas and Louisiana Gulf Coast and the Gulf of Mexico. Since selling his company in 2001, John has been at LLOG Exploration as the Vice President of Exploration. He has had many oil and gas industry memberships over the years, including AAPG, HGS, and NOIA, and he serves on several boards, including For All Mankind Ministries. In 1989, he married Dana O'Quinn, and they have 3 children and 2 grandchildren, with 1 more on the way in 2023. John serves on the Board of Visitors for the Mewborn College of Earth and Energy, actively working with Dean Stice and the advancement team to identify new opportunities and recruit new students, and is also a member of the Trailblazer Society. Dana serves on the Board of Visitors for the Rainbow College of Education. Together, John and Dana focus primarily on investing in students by providing scholarships and internships for various colleges here at OU. In honor of his mentors, John and Dana established the Brian and Sandra O'Brien Scholarship Endowment in the Mewborn College to provide scholarships for geology students. John loves that the Sooner Nation is all about family. He feels that it's important for us to remember that when we have a hand in planting the seeds for the future, and if each of us gives back our time and resources, we can make all the difference. Please join me in recognizing John W. Dowdy. Our next recipient earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology in 1985. She went on to earn a Juris Doctor with honors in 1988. While at OU Law, Paula served on the Oklahoma Law Review. After completing her degrees, Paula ascended to the highest levels of the corporate world, into the C-suite at Phillips 66. While serving as Executive Vice President and General Counsel of the company, she also chose to give back and serve her alma mater as the executive sponsor for the company to the University of Oklahoma. Paula has demonstrated tremendous passion, pride, and generosity for the university during her decade-long tenure, as she has been a passionate supporter of new initiatives central to diversity and inclusion. Paula was not able to be with us today, but please join me in recognizing Paula A. Johnson. Our next recipient, a native of Pauls Valley, Oklahoma, graduated as a third-generation Sooner in 1963 with a BBA in accounting with special distinction. Jack excelled as a student at OU and was named a top 10 freshman and big man on campus. Upon his graduation, he received the Silver Letsizer Award. He was a member of the Payette Honor Society, Beta Theta Pi Social Fraternity, and president of the OU Accounting Club. Jack also served as a cadet colonel of the Army ROTC unit. Upon graduation, Jack was commissioned as a lieutenant in the U.S. Army and served 2 years active duty in France. Following his military service, Jack landed a job with a Big 8 accounting firm in Dallas, became a CPA, and met fellow accountant, CPA, and future wife, Carol. Earning a Juris Doctor and Master of Laws from Southern Methodist University led to a 50-year career in trust and estates law at one of Dallas's largest law firms. Jack gave freely of his time to support and improve the legal profession. As a part of the inaugural group of recipients in 1983, Jack was named a Best Lawyer in America by a vote of his peers in estate planning and probate. Throughout his career, Jack has contributed his time and efforts in support of many philanthropic activities. For almost 40 years, he worked to improve the quality of life for many in North Texas by serving as outside counsel, trustee, and executive director of Communities Foundation of Texas. At the SMU Dedman School of Law, recognized his service and awarded Jack the Distinguished Alumni Award for Public Interest. Jack is a proud member of the Chickasaw Nation and continues to honor his Oklahoma heritage. In gratitude to OU and to the Price College of Business, Jack and his wife established an endowed scholarship in support of students in the Steed School of Accounting. And in 2016, Jack received Price College's Distinguished Alumni Award and delivered the keynote address at the college's December convocation of that year. Jack and Carol are also members of OU's Seed Sower Society and find great joy in being able to make a meaningful impact in the lives of current and future generations of students. Please join me in recognizing Jack M. Kennebrew. Shortly after graduating from the University of Oklahoma and becoming an officer in the United States Air Force, our next recipient was assigned to the 390th Tactical Fighter Squadron Da Nang, where he flew an F-4 Phantom fighter on missions to attack and disable anti-aircraft batteries, defending Hanoi and other heavily defended areas of North Vietnam. On January 19 of 1967, he encountered a low cloud ceiling and heavy fire, and he and his fellow senior pilot were forced to eject from the aircraft and taken prisoner of war by North Vietnamese soldiers. After spending 6 years and 24 days as a prisoner of war, Galen was released during Operation Homecoming in February of 1973. During his captivity, in an atmosphere of enemy harassment and brutal treatment, Galen continued to establish and maintain communications through unusual and ingenious methods that resulted in American and Allied prisoners of war presenting a posture of unity and increased resistance to the enemy's wishes. At the same time, his actions improved prisoner morale. Through his heroic endeavors and devotion to duty under adverse conditions, Galen upheld the highest traditions of the United States Air Force. After a brief hospitalization to recover from prolonged captivity, Galen returned to active duty and continued his distinguished Air Force career as a test pilot, squadron commander, and instructor until he retired from the Air Force in November of 1984. Galen then worked for Northrop Grumman as a logistics program manager until he permanently retired. Please join me in recognizing Lieutenant Colonel Galen Kramer. Our next recipient is a consummate educator who has provided mentorships for 49 PhD graduates, many of whom went on to achieve prominent positions within their field, including Neil Lane, former science advisor to the President of the United States, Donald Johnson, Director of the National Technical Information Service, and Jeff Chilton, Center for Naval Analyses. Chun is a member of OU's Seed Sower Society and has given significantly to the university. In 2018, in appreciation of his transformational gift, the OU Board of Regents named a new academic building Lynn Hall. His contribution also helped fund endowments for additional faculty researchers and graduate students. The Center for Quantum Research and Technology is an inspiring new home for transformative research and will make the University of Oklahoma a global leader in the rapidly advancing quantum field. Though he's unable to be with us here today, would you please join me in recognizing Chun C. Lin. Upon receiving his first professional degree in architecture from OU, our next recipient made his way to Dallas, eventually opening Merriman Architects in 1987, together with his wife Debbie. Jerry's firm made its first donation to OU in 1993, only 6 years after it was founded. Since then, Jerry has supported OU and advanced its mission of excellence in a myriad of ways. He has served on the Gibbs College Board of Visitors since 2010 and a chair of the Board of Visitors since 2014. He's been a key advisor in formulating the college's ambitious 26 by 26 capital campaign to be launched in late 2022. Since 1993, Jerry has generously contributed more than $700,000 to the University of Oklahoma. He and his partner have created life-changing scholarships for architecture students. In appreciation for their generous support, various spaces throughout Gould Hall are named in their honor. Since 2018, Jerry has anonymously underwritten the college's annual scholarship event. In business, Jerry's firm has been a beacon for Christopher C. Gibbs College of Architecture graduates. His firm employs countless alumni, among them one recent graduate who has been entrusted to lead the firm Jerry helped found. In 2019, Jerry received the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Dallas Business Journal. Here to accept the award on behalf of our honoree. Please join me in welcoming Dean Hans Bootzer of the Christopher C. Gibbs College of Architecture, and help me in recognizing Jerry Merriman. In her 17-year career at ExxonMobil, our next recipient has worked on projects in more than 25 countries across the globe. Until recently, she served as vice president for established areas for exploration and new ventures. In April of 2022, she moved into a senior corporate advisor role at ExxonMobil headquarters in Irving, Texas. Carrie began her career at ExxonMobil in 2005, following an internship with Devon Energy during graduate school. She's been on the rise ever since, proving to be an influential and impactful advocate for the company. Carrie's extensive work in developing countries has positioned her as a sustainable advocate, witnessing firsthand the positive impact of investing in women and the opportunities the energy sector provides to build communities. Receiving national attention as a leader in the profession, Carrie is featured in numerous journals and is a go-to presenter, providing keynotes at the International Petroleum Technology Conference and Women's Global Leadership Conference in Energy. Carrie graduated summa cum laude from OU in 2005, earning a bachelor's degree in geosciences and a master's in geophysics. While at OU, she worked as a lab assistant in the paleomagnetics lab and in financial support services. She also found time to participate on the bowling team, an OU club sport, and earned several honors. Despite the extensive demands of her job at ExxonMobil, Carrie's bowling has continued to improve. Earlier this year, she was inducted into the Houston Bowling Hall of Fame and was also named Texas Female Bowler of the Year. As a member of the OU President's Associates, Mewborn College Board of Advisors, and School of Geosciences Alumni Advisory Council, Carrie continues to advocate for women in STEM, diversity, and the importance of energy for developing nations. Please join me in recognizing Carrie M. Moreland. Part of what makes our next recipient's career and legacy so meaningful is the unique approach to the study of practice and medicine. He integrates humanistic values with a traditional scientific approach in the treatment of people. This trademark lens has earned Dr. Vannetta national recognition and has differentiated him as a medical practitioner and educator. In 2016, Dr. Vannetta was inducted into the Oklahoma Higher Education Hall of Fame, and also received an honorary doctorate from Oklahoma City University that same year. In 2021, Dr. Vannetta committed a $1 million gift to support the OU College of Medicine's Academy of Teaching Scholars, a service organization that fosters excellence in teaching and health professions education. This gift will allow the Academy to continue its important work of nurturing, recognizing, and rewarding teaching excellence among the college's faculty. Dr. Vannetta is feeling a bit under the weather this morning and won't be able to join us, but will you please join me in recognizing Dr. Jerry Vannetta. And once more, will you please join me in recognizing all of our remarkable recipients of the 2022 Regents Alumni Award. We'll close our ceremony today as we close so many of our hallowed traditions with the singing of the OU chant. At this time, I'd like to invite OU student Emily Dirks to sing the OU chant here at the podium. Emily is a dual major in vocal music education and vocal performance. Emily? Somebody give me a note. All right. If you'll stand and put your finger in the air, I'll stand as far away from the microphone as I possibly can. You ready?
Our chant rolls on and on. Thousands strong join heart and soul in alma mater's praise. Our campus beautiful by day.